Welcome to New Game Plus, a retro gaming podcast where three guys spend 7 days playing one old game and then we talk about it. My name's Dustin.
My name's Kenny.
Nolan.
And this is episode 307. And I saw a Reddit post this past week. And the question that was being asked was, what video game level can go F itself? Nice. I brought a few to share with you. I would like for you to try to think of a couple too, maybe, or even just
I've got one.
Okay,
immediately.
Well, great. Hold it.
You never have an immediate answer. Hold it.
Some of the answers on the post were Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle for the NES. That was the game. The water level. It had an electric seaweed situation going on, and I think you had an oxygen meter too. It was absolutely tough.
Of course,
another one was the ostrich and monkey level in the Lion King Super Nintendo game.
Yeah.
That one was super tough.
I blocked that out of my memory.
A lot better now.
Did the Aladdin lava scene make the cut?
Yes.
That one too. Wow, great answers.
Yeah.
When you said Lion King, it made me think of the Aladdin game.
One of the highest rated answers was literally any level where you have to escort someone through the level.
Yeah, that's
like
just
escort
bad.
Levels where you have to keep them alive and they walk at a different speed than you.
Yeah.
Did anyone just say Dark Souls and leave it at that?
I did not see a Dark Souls.
Escort missions.
Yes.
Assassin's Creed did the worst ones, probably.
Especially early on.
So bad.
And GTA had some too that were just like, why are you walking at negative speed? I didn't know it was possible. Please hurry up.
Do you want to know? Here's another answer that I thought was very fun to stumble across. Any level from Echo the Dolphin.
Well,
not the first level.
The first level was fun.
A lot of comments under it was like,
it's understandable.
They're like, I didn't even know how to play the game. I played the first stage, couldn't figure out how to go on, and I switched to a different game.
They just kept swimming.
We joked about that being the way to play the game. Just don't jump.
Absolutely.
Don't jump.
All right. Yep. Any others on mind? Can you said Aladdin? Was that the one you were thinking of?
No, the one that actually came to mind is Top Gun. First level,
the game,
the whole game.
Oh, landing the plane,
but that first level, actually landing the plane,
absolutely
basically impossible. It's garbage. It was the thing that was consternation in my childhood, and so that one sticks out for me. Easy.
I don't know. The whole water level thing, yeah, like it's true. So I won't say that because there is a Mario water level that's actual trash. But I don't know. I don't know. I can't.
You don't remember a moment being like mad at a game?
I'm really good at video games. I'm better than you at video games, so I don't have one.
Wow. I am playing Breath of the Wild right now, and that last shrine with Thunderblight Ganon is the worst.
Oh, the Divine Beast
thing in the game. Yeah, the Divine Beast. That whole dungeon is not fun and poorly designed.
Thunderblight's bad. Real frustrating.
Well, and I fought him last, so he was stronger than what he could have been if I would have done that first. So anyways, but that was good, Kenny. That was good. Nolan's here. This is what Nolan's thing is. Nolan just says, hey, if a video game level is too difficult for you, you need to practice more, you need to try harder, and you need to get good, right?
Yeah.
And Bob's your uncle, like in our... that works. So it works.
Did you just
it worked. That? No, I actually...
You prepared that? Okay.
Yeah, I prepared that pre-plan. A lot of thought. Like in our retro game of the week, Bob.
Overview.
Bob, or B.O.B, since it's not periods. I guess it is a period, but it's, is it just a period? Is there another name for it when it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a hard stop.
There's hard stops in between each and after the final level. There's a hard stop after each of these.
It stands for
letters.
Something.
Yeah, no, it's an acronym.
No,
it presents itself as an acronym.
There you go.
I don't know if the acronym is ever defined.
It's a fake-ronym.
In the manual, and I scoured through the manual, the Wikipedia page, they did not have a name. They did not have an acronym, but it is B.O.B.
It's gotta stand.
That's another name for it.
It's gotta stand for Bob on Beals.
Bob on Bob.
I mean, it's
Bobot on Beals?
yes, for sure. There's something in the booklet.
No, I just told you. I looked through the entire manual and there's
Someone's
nothing.
lying.
In fact, I had seen on a YouTube video, a post on a YouTube video this past week that someone remembers, so I have no idea if this is actually true. Put your hands down, Kenny, I'm talking. That there was the company that was developing this game. Can you just raise the roof? Excuse me.
I saw that out your peripherals.
The company that developed this game had not an event, but just a thing where people could send in what they thought the acronym should stand for. So they had created and developed the game without any plan for that, and they were going to have user interaction or fan feedback.
So someone put butt on butt.
Butt on butt, probably.
Is it too late for us to
apologize?
Submit entries?
Yes.
No, I think it's fair. So we'll go around.
Okay. Mine's butt on butt.
Okay. But that's bad knowing what this game's about.
You don't get to say that.
I'm sure I do. All right, Kenny, your hand is up.
My hand is up. Here's my philosophy. If people named if people named Robert sometimes go by Bob, then it makes sense that a robot, if you shortened it, would just be B.O.B.
No, I thought Bob was short for
same.
I thought Bob was short for Dick.
No.
Richard Tracy. Go back and watch that episode or listen to that episode. All right, so my B.O.B. is Bionicle Ocular Bot.
Is that what it's really that's what it is. Yes, that's official.
I'm trying to tell you that there is no real thing.
Canon.
Okay.
Big old booty.
Okay.
Hey! B.O.B. or Bob is also known in Japan as Space Funky Bob. Is a
better.
Is a 1993 2D side-scrolling platform about an alien robot who crashed his dad's car into an asteroid and now has to platform and shoot his way back home. Quit raising your hand. Especially when I'm in the middle of something. Just wait until the end.
It's not a car, it's a spaceship.
Okay.
It's very clearly a space car.
That's why you raised your hand.
Space car. Which is a type of spaceship.
It's a ship.
Oh, excuse me.
It's a ship.
Stop the podcast. Let's clarify.
This setup is too quirky. 5 me.
It's
silly.
Goofy. It's goofy.
I love it.
Of course
it feels like SNES era. Like it's fun.
It feels like early 90s. Okay.
Yeah,
and it is early 90s. It was developed by Gray Matter, has nothing to do with Walter White.
Shout out Walter White.
It was published by Electronic Arts.
I know that.
And it uses the same game engine as another game that was developed by Gray Matter called Wayne's World.
What? Really?
Yes. Wayne's World was a very bad video game.
I've never heard of the Wayne's World video game. I didn't know that existed.
You knew there had to be one, though.
I don't know. I mean, no, because that's such a bad idea. But I guess I'm not surprised. Just reuse the engine. Like, okay, let's make a robot game now.
That's what they did with Super Mario 2, Super Mario Brothers Land 2. That's what they just reused
but they can
someone
do
else's.
it. That's fine.
Oh, they can do it?
Yeah.
Well, if you are going to use another engine, don't use Wayne's World.
Please don't.
That might be a good suggestion.
That's a great start. Yeah.
Okay. So this side-scrolling 2D shooter came out for the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. They are virtually the same game, same stages, same bosses, same gun upgrades, same robot, same story, just slightly tweaked graphics and music, of course, like they typically do.
I played the Genesis version.
This week.
Yep.
I played the Super Nintendo version this week.
I did Super Nintendo, but I generally prefer Genesis.
I also played the Super Nintendo version because that is the version that I grew up playing as we rented this game from the video game rental store.
I remember you saying that. What drew you to this game? It wasn't the cover art.
Right, because I'm looking at it now, and it wasn't the title.
No. It looks really dull, honestly, on the outside.
Yeah, I really don't know. Maybe I went there and all of the other games were rented out, and so I had to do this one. I don't know what the problem was.
Yeah.
But I did rent it. So I had a lot of experience with this, a lot of memory. So even when I was doing the first play this week, it was just coming back to a game that I had played many times in the past.
That's really funny to me. This felt like several other games that we've played on the podcast, and I can't name one of them.
Okay.
But it just felt so samey to a lot of Genesis titles that I've played on the show. I don't know. Just like this nameless character that is not too interesting, and it's a platformer. I don't know.
Yes, Justin?
Kenny has something to say.
No, I don't. You raised your hand.
You were about to talk, and I was raising my hand for you.
Oh, it's a team effort here?
Oh, Nolan has something to say.
I was going to say, Kenny, you can go ahead.
I like this hand raising situation. We should make it a reality. Games it reminds me of. Earthworm Jim, a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
You said that in your first play, I think.
It also reminds me, and I'm not going to give specific titles, but more vibe. It also reminds me a lot of a PC platformers. It feels very much like it was influenced by kind of that direction.
Vector Man,
there's also
maybe
there's also another game by Gray Matter that I don't think we played. I don't think we did
so either.
But that people say is very similar in its field. James Bond Jr.
Wait.
Of course we didn't play that. We did play James Pond.
I think that's why I was confused, because
James Bond Jr.
Of course,
apparently
can't be good.
Sons. You know he had sons.
003.5.
Okay. Yes. All right. Kenny's on one tonight. You just got to do a late night recording, and Kenny's gonna come with guns blazing.
Yeah.
I think it was like Earthworm Jim. It's also like, or it has a similar vibe as the Rapping Aliens that is Macaulay Culkin's favorite.
Wait, what is
Toe
that?
Jam and Earl.
Yeah,
a little bit of Toe Jam and Earl. Maybe not so much
vibe.
Earl.
What about Macaulay?
That's Macaulay Culkin's favorite video game.
He said that before? That's hilarious.
Yeah, he plays it every year.
Okay.
So think of all those things. It's interesting because I even thought of Earthworm Jim when I was doing my first play, but this predates Earthworm Jim. So keep that in mind as we talk further about Bob's Your Uncle.
Gameplay.
The handling feels stale, crusty.
You're just gonna start. Okay, so you're just coming out of the gate.
It's a platformer. There's nothing really to like set up to. It's like you get thrown in, and the handling. That's what I want to start with. It's not good.
Bob's Your Uncle.
I mean, unless the SNES is just completely different in this regard, it's very unresponsive, which is terrible for all platformers.
Nolan comes out as the self-proclaimed platforming god. He didn't say it this episode, but he said it many
It's understood. Everyone knows.
And thinks that he can immediately just come out and say, bad platforming. I mean, that's what you did.
Whoa, okay. What did you want to start with? The story? No.
I mentioned the story, and that's all that there is to the story. He's just trying to get back off of these asteroids and keeps wrecking his car, his space car. But it is a retro platformer. You're moving left to right. You're jumping gaps, shooting enemies, getting upgrades, doing all of those things. I do agree with you though, with controls that are not as crisp as you get in some others, but Earthworm Jim's wasn't fluid either.
No. So.
Yeah, I definitely didn't think this was like the tightest or most responsive game, but it didn't completely kill the experience for me.
I won't say that. That's extreme. It's just very noticeable. And so that was the first thing I was like, ooh, because when you jumping is obviously extremely important in platformers. Your jump is just kind of sticky and a little delayed. I don't know if it was input delay. I don't think so. I just think that it's very stiff.
Do you know what's interesting? we played platformers, of course, on this podcast before, and we even played one somewhat recently that came out in the mid to late 80s with Super Mario Bros. And that is a platformer where the controlling and the handling is so good 10 years before this game. So I'm not giving it a pass just because it's an earlier platformer.
We're to Super Nintendo.
Yeah, you should be able to do.
We're past the point that there's an excuse for that.
Right.
But I'm sure it's also not an easy thing to do. I think you have to be pretty deliberate and good at what you're doing. Some of it may depend on underlying engine that you build. I mean, we talked about the whole Wayne's World thing. But and that is a key component of a platformer, but that is not all a platformer is made of. And I think there's plenty of other stuff to talk about. Yes, it may not be the tightest or most responsive, but you've got some kind of fun moveset options. I love the little squat and walk.
Hate it
for going under stuff. It's charming.
Yeah.
I love the grabbing with your antenna and swinging to cross gaps on stuff. I love the idea of having these utility items that are kind of Inspector Gadgety. I guess they're remotes is what they're called in the game or something like that.
It's short for remote gadgets. So
that you can take out of your character. They interact with them in different ways, and that was kind of unique and interesting. And I'm a huge fan of gun variety, which this game has no shortage of.
You have a total of 6 gun types and 6 remote gadgets that you can choose from.
I'm actually surprised it's that few. When you say that and I think through the list, that feels right, but I thought there were even more.
And that's a lot.
That's too much.
It's a good amount.
Oh, whoa. No one said too much.
Y'all say I'll tell you why in a second.
Okay. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but in my first play, I didn't realize I kept going to the menu like a Nintendo NES title. But on the Super Nintendo, what was really nice is you could use the L button and the R button. L button quick changes between the different guns that you have, and the R button quick changes between the remote gadgets that you have. So nice. And let me just say before we continue, Nolan.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You can be mad at this game.
I'm not
You
mad.
cannot like this game. You can't act like there's no redeeming qualities as we have conversation.
I said that?
No, I'm watching your face as you just are ready to fight against anything nice that's being said about this game.
I'm not ready to fight. I'm not ready to fight. That's it. I'm going to say what I think about it.
We're like, oh, there's a variety of weapons. Too many. This robot, when he swings. I hate him swinging.
I didn't say the swinging sucked. The swinging was cool. All right, I'm on board for 6 weapons. But on the Genesis, you don't have L and R. And I didn't have a Genesis controller this week, so I don't know how they actually set that up. So I was pausing a lot. So that's one thing, which is whatever. Like Mega Man does that too. I can get over that. But I was wanting more from the stage itself. Yeah, you have all these weapons, but I mean, in terms of how you are fighting the enemies, it's the same. I mean, there's no reason to swap as often as you do. Yeah, you get the spread one if there's a enemy in an odd area that you can't reach, and maybe that's something. But I just needed there to be more from the stage itself that require you to be using a specific weapon or not. Not only that, the limited ammo was a big problem for me. I ran out constantly, and oh great, now I have a punch as a backup, unlimited ammo. The punch sucked.
Fist punch.
The punch sucked. And the strat is this: just don't use your ammo. Use your punch until you have to use your ammo, like there's an enemy out of reach, and then you can save ammo that way. I don't know. 7, it just felt like forced weapons. I didn't need 7.
The mazes are the mazes. The levels are set up sort of maze style, where it's not just like left to right platformer and you're going along. You've got this area to explore. I'm not going to say it's a no, I can't meme that to death. I was going to make the Metroidvania joke. You go horizontal and vertical both, and you don't know where you're going. So you have to do lots of exploration where you're going up, left, right, down. And that definitely gives it a kind of different feel. But I'm not opposed to that setup. Although they did feel it did make the levels feel a little bit samey to me. I would have liked more variety at least.
I never felt the like weapon lag or whatever you're describing that's suffering, in the sense of not having enough ammo. Each and every gun has ammo, and depending on its like potency, you get kind of less bullets for it, because you've got everything from a single pea shot to the spread shot to a flamethrower to you've got all these kinds of things, and depending on their potency, again, you're going to have less ammo for it. So I would save the more powerful or less ammo for the bosses or for the big enemies or something like that, and I would stick to the pea shooter or the spread shot as often as possible. And as long as you're exploring, there are tons of refillable ammo vials, if you will, to find power-ups, all littered throughout the stage. And if you use some of your remote gadgets to be able to get to some of these hidden areas, then sometimes there's like 6 different ammo refills there to really help you to feel like you're not just having to punch your way through each and every stage.
Or alternatively, if you're especially bad at the game, like Nolan was,
beat it. You didn't beat it.
You did not.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Regardless, I'm just giving you a hard time because we all know who you are, especially coming from me. If ammo is a persistent problem for you, listener, who's not Nolan, the password system does integrate a little cheat that you can use where you can load up levels fully equipped with extra ammo. Just not if you use the trivia.
Not if you use the password you're given in a stage.
Nope. Yeah, you take the second digit of the password you're given and replace it with a 9, is I believe what I was reading. I didn't check the veracity of this, but this is internet.
Interesting.
And apparently you start that same level but with 99 of every weapon.
Oh,
that's fun.
Yeah.
Nolan, you did not beat this game.
No, I didn't.
Okay, good. I knew you would not, because
go ahead.
Well, variety is not what this game is known for,
dude.
You can play. There are 2 stages in this game, and you play them 60 times.
That's in my notes. That's in my notes. I said 1.
And that's why I knew why I had such a hard time believing that you beat this game, because I know you and I know what you're going to commit your time to, and it is not to playing the same stage over and over and over and over.
No, I was leveling my Spectral Helix champion.
Okay.
Okay, but you said something about a boss in there. This needed more boss fights to me.
You know what?
Confused me.
You know what? It didn't need more. It needed them more often. Here's the thing that is absolutely insane. The pacing here. No, Kenny, watch this. You have to play something like 12 stages before your first boss battle. That's not normal. But then the next boss battle is 3 stages after that one. So if they would have just done 4 stages and 8 stages, or 6 and 12, or something that made more sense. But there were bosses, they just weren't spread out like they needed to be.
The Wayne's World engine wouldn't allow for spread out bosses.
Also, there's some kind of math or logic there that isn't sitting well with me, but I'll give it to you.
And when you get to that first boss, I laughed the whole fight. 'Cause what is it? What are you looking at? That's
a normal thing. The dinosaur head, dragon head.
Yeah,
thing?
But it had holes in it and valves, and I'm like, they tried to make a boss, but this is weird and not anything. Like, it was just so strange. And then the boss later is kind of the same thing. I mean, it's just another dragon head, but like, 12 stages, dude. What a joke.
Yeah,
and the same stage, literally the same stage.
The same stage with different
ladders
platforms in different places. That's it. And And for the first world, like they try to do worlds, you have 3 different main worlds or asteroids, I guess, that have somewhat different themes to their stages and somewhat different enemies. But again, you're playing the same stage over and over and over again with a slight variance. They try to add some variety with a vehicular scrolling stage.
Spaceship. Yeah.
That is a spaceship. I'll give you that one, Kenny. It's not a space car. This one's a spaceship where you have to get, but that one's even clunky where, okay, a little variety. You get in a car, you have a limited time, and they really keep that time scraped down low so that you're having to really struggle to get to the finish line.
I like the energy there, though.
I like it too.
Hype of like forcing you to go fast and try hard.
And you know what I liked even more is that after the timer ends, I found out I'm not dead yet. The game's not over because then it slowly depletes your life bar, which ups the ante even more. And Bob's your uncle.
And Bob's your uncle? Okay. I don't care about those stages. Like, if you, I'm frustrated because if you're gonna give me utility abilities like the high jump,
utility ability.
If you're going to give me these skills that I can use to navigate the stage and do cool things, you have to have good stage design, believe it or not. You can't just give them to me and expect me to have fun with them. It's deeper than that. And so like the maze stage format, I actually quite like. Other games have done that. Tim the Toolman Taylor did that and did it well. Like I can't even hate on their stage design because they did the maze thing too. Okay. This is a square with ladders, some quote-unquote lava pits. It's electricity or something. I mean, that's it. That's it. So if you're going to hand me skills, change the stage.
Let's
gray matter.
Let's talk about the skills, the remote. Well, let's talk about both the gun and the remote. Like I said, we're not going to go through every single one, but did you have a favorite? Let's do gun first. What was your favorite gun? The what?
Flamethrower.
A flamethrower. Okay.
Spread shotgun.
Flamethrower was cool because depending on how long you held the button down was how far the flame went out.
Yep. And cool animation and like it consumed people with fire and
I
like
people. It. No, not people.
Y'all are
and what game were you playing? You said spread shot, Nolan.
The spread shot, yeah, the triple thing because it was the most useful I found.
I use the triple shot most, so that one was my favorite as well. If we're talking about favorite remotes, mine, I mean, it's hard to beat the floating bomb, which is just that stage clear or the screen clear. That's really nice.
It's the power bomb from Metroid.
But one that I've always really liked was just the umbrella. So you just kind of float a little bit with it.
The umbrella was classy. Every once in a while, I didn't want to use it, though, because his animation when he fell too far and, like, broke himself was actually really funny, and I wanted to see it.
That one felt especially Inspector Gadgety, the umbrella. Sure. When I saw it on the menu, when I first pulled it up, I was like, what is that one going to be?
All the gadgets kind of are. The little trampoline thing, he, like, pulls it out of his stomach and sets it down to bounce on it, which is kind of funny.
That was funny.
Yeah, they're all good. Probably my favorite only because utility.
Shield?
And I don't think you got to use it often, but I like the premise is just the like invincibility bubble.
The shield.
You get to like a really hard part, just like throwing a shield and being able to just walk through is like, come on, I'm the B.O.B. Like
nice. Nolan, did you say yours?
It would have been the power bomb. I don't have a favorite though.
Okay. Stick it to the man.
I'm uncomfortable liking this game.
Aged.
It's 90s.
Yeah.
Very.
In every bit of it.
Everything.
Let's start with like the quirkiness and the silliness of it because that's another vibe that made me think of Earthworm Jim, you know. I don't and even the rapping aliens. I don't think Bob ever says like tubular, but pretty much,
no,
right?
I mean, he says like psych.
Right. Oh yeah. That's the kind of things that he's got quips at the end and at the start of stages like, dude, where am I? And get a load of this place and stuff like that. Does it work for you? Does that humor and dialogue age poorly? Was it bad the humor to begin with?
It works for me. It was bad to begin with, but it works for me because it's nostalgic. I love the 90s and I like remembering some of those corny lines. So it definitely works for me. It needs to come from a character I care about. But the lines themselves, I'm always welcome that style, so it's fine.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for this business. Like, it was a good era for me, and I know it probably doesn't hold up because of that. You know, like how strictly in the time it was created, some of that humor is, but it's a fun type of nostalgia, and so yeah, I was all about the humor and the silliness and the space car dad shtick. Like,
yeah, and I agree too. The humor, like that kind of stuff, still works for me because I was a product and a child of then. But I don't think this game did it that well. Like, it didn't fully commit. Like, it just stepped out. You know what? And maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but I think with the level design and this quippiness, quirkiness, 90s stuff, everything is like a group of older guys got together and were like, this is what the kids want.
It's very
in my
kids.
mind. And they tried to give kids what they wanted, but being out of touch themselves. That's what it felt like here. So I don't think they did it as well as some of those other games in the early to mid 90s that did it much better.
Yes.
It probably resonates with me then because I'm that old guy.
You would have developed it.
Who's trying to make the jokes and they're not connecting.
No, you're right.
But it
felt forced.
I liked it.
And
it felt forced.
So blatantly forced. Other games do this, but they do it better and it feels right. Back to what I said earlier, because it's coming from a character I care about or a character it makes sense with, like Gex.
Yes,
right?
That one was
perfect, right? Because that character is just, I mean, he's hilarious and he would say these things, but Bob is stupid and yellow and has bug eyes.
What is that?
Why are you bringing his race into it?
It's not his race. It's a bland character. And, I mean, so many companies are guilty of this in the 90s where they were like, Mario, ding, ding, ding. Here's a robot named Bob. Here's whatever. Here's the Bat Circus performer that we hate so much.
Okay, don't make this like Arrow.
It's Arrow,
This is not anywhere near Arrow.
No, okay.
Right.
But character design, they're in the same category of just like, here's something, guys, play with this character.
You brought up
thought
color.
He was charming.
You brought up color. You brought up his color. The color of the game is 90s as well. A lot of the things are like this bright neon. So you've got like this hurt your eyes green, hurt your eyes purple, hurt your eyes blue. And yeah, I don't necessarily hate it either, but it's certainly a vibe. It's certainly they're going for this specific kind of look of like Nickelodeon Guts, kind of idea here.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, it works with the world. Although you're seeing a lot of it. We've already talked about it. But playing 30 stages of the same stage with the same colors, and then you do finally get a swap on the palettes and some of the graphic tile sets and things like that once you get to the second world. But then for the next 30 stages, you're playing this in the same environment as the first stage in that world. So really, with 3 worlds, you've only got 3 different things you're looking at, and it gets tiresome.
I thought it looked nice. I think there's an argument for saying there was, too many levels, but in my mind, that's a gameplay or a design issue, not just an aesthetics issue. I thought the stuff that they did give us looked good. Animations were fun. Some of the enemies looked different. The first time one of those lava monsters popped up out of the lava and started chucking stuff at me, I was like, man, this is great. It definitely has a specific aesthetic. And like the other things that we've talked about, is very time period specific. And yes, leans a little squarish and a little PC-ish. But that's a nostalgia spot for me. So I loved how this game looked personally.
I do too. But there's no excuse at this point. You made a good point earlier, Dustin. This is like almost a decade after some games that just did it perfectly and had fewer resources. There's no excuse to have this limited of a color of a not only color palette, but just like stage design, enemy design. All of it was it was like, here's more game, but it's just the exact same thing. And so I liked it, but I wanted 4 other world styles, colors. Like, they could have done that. They should have done that.
I've got to find something that you guys will agree with me on is good about this game, and it's too late for me to bring up the HUD, which was clean and sharp and looked great. So instead, let me just say the music was doing it for me. I know, again, a little repetitive. I know again, probably 290s. Maybe, Nolan, you can't handle that much funky bass, but I'm all for it.
I wonder if it was different for me. Because Genesis typically did have a different sound font. We always talk about that. And it was here. I was like, okay, we're on Genesis. And I did like the bassy, or the jazz lines, not jazz, the drums that they have in here. And there's some variety. I was surprised, actually, after seeing the same stage, I was surprised to see when they actually did change it, that the song changed. But then it went back. So it's fine. I'm not going to agree with you fully, Kenny. I don't love it.
And I thought it was good, fine, and serviceable, but I think that there wasn't enough of it. Or it's really not that there wasn't enough of it. It's that there were 30 stages with the one or two songs. It's all going back to this poor level design and like development of what the setup was going to be. So I thought the bass techno 90 kind of driving stuff worked, especially for the game that it's in and for the character and for the world, and the tracks were fine, but when you're hearing them again and again and again and again on all 30 of the stages on one world, it just becomes too much for me, and I just wanted to stop listening to it.
Yep. You want the Reader's Digest version of this game, where they go in and edit 60% of the levels out, and it's a short, sweet platformer and done?
No, have the same amount of levels, but look at what other games are doing. They did the worlds thing, but no game has 3 worlds.
Kenny, are you
have
arguing
8 worlds
that they did this correctly?
No, there are things about this game that are great.
I was in the middle of saying something. What happened to that?
You don't need to hear.
No one cares more about my
That was
opinion.
Nolan this time. I was halfway through my thing.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
He was offended that I disagree with him.
I'm just saying, instead of 3 worlds, if they would have had 8 worlds, I'm just throwing that number out there, of 6 stages each, or, you have the same amount of levels, but it makes more sense. It's what games are doing, and they've tried it, and it works. Don't give us 3 massive worlds with 20 stages each.
Okay, I'm going to try one more time then to find something you guys like about this game. How about that overworld?
No.
What about? No, heck no.
It was nice.
Terrible.
Nice to be able to move between. Looked
You don't
fun. Gave
move?
you some context.
Super Mario Brothers 3 has been out when this game came out. You want to talk Overworld to me about this game? Come on.
Yeah, Overworld
Let's just compare every game against the best game that's ever been made, and then act like that's a fair standard.
I am going to do that because you just didn't try. This is a clear example of a company not trying as hard as they could have.
I think this is a company that tried too hard.
No.
No, you can't.
I don't think they got it all right.
Maybe they tried too hard and not hard enough, and they landed here somehow. But the thing that I thought was good when it comes to graphics, music, out of all of this, and Nolan kind of gave some negative vibes towards it, but I think that he's got to agree on this. I think Bob's model is fun and cute. Like, out of all of the, like, better than Arrow the Acrobat, better than Cool Spot, better than a lot of these other games that are just trying to have like another Mario or another Sonic. I think Bob looks good, and with his big eyes, and with again, Kenny mentioned it earlier, but when you crouch, he doesn't crouch. He compacts himself and then like skitters on his feet.
His lanky walk.
When he's
like
holding
all kinds of fun stuff.
When he's holding onto a bar and his fingers kind of just move, I think the model of Bob is great all the way through, and it's this big model. Now, Kenny and I agree, and Nolan doesn't, so we're not going to agree on anything here.
He looks like a Bug's Life. Doesn't look like a robot.
Right? What do you mean? Yes, he looks like a Bug's Life robot. That sounds great.
No, he doesn't look like a robot. He looks like an ant.
Straight up looks like a robot.
Standing
Bug
up.
or bot?
I think
B.O.B?
Kenny just found it out. Yeah, absolutely. He is more approachable than Earthworm Jim, in my opinion. If I saw them both at the mall,
Yeah.
and I was coming out of
Hot Topic. Claire's?
Hollister.
I went to
Hollister.
Gadzooks,
Ooh,
but I don't know if that
Gadzooks.
was all the way around.
Heck yeah.
Annie Ann's Pretzels.
Yeah.
KB Toys. KB Toys.
KB
Yeah,
Toys. That's where I got
KB
my
Toys.
games.
I came out of KB Toys and I saw Earthworm Jim over by the escalator over there. And then over on the other side, near the food court, I saw Bob. I'm going to Bob.
I would be scared of both of them. And I would run inside of Victoria's Secret and hide in a pile. Okay.
I'm going to Bob, but only because I'm beelining towards the food court. Gotta hit that Sparrow.
Are we just gonna talk about malls the rest of this episode?
and Bob's your uncle.
It's because this game put us in a 90s mindset. And so we're there, and like, yeah.
All right. If you want a copy of B.O.B., then you're going to be paying $17 used. This is Super Nintendo, or $80 new. And for the Genesis, you're going to be paying less, $9 used, $47 new.
Okay.
And there's no sequel. They thought they were going to do a sequel, Bob 2, but it was never released.
Bob Jr.
Final thoughts.
At the end of each and every one of our episodes, we determine whether or not the game gets our vote for New Game Plus status, which is our general thumbs up or thumbs down. It does require 2/3 of the vote to swing one way or the other. Nolan? Yeah, Nolan, let's hear your thoughts first. Are you going to be mean?
No, I'm never going to be mean to...
That's a lie.
I'm going to read my notes. This game has absolutely no variety. I don't have anything else after that. I said this earlier, and I really mean this. They didn't try. I think this game was just thrown out. I'm surprised Electronic Arts published it. I feel like a QA person would look at this and be like, oh, no. But everyone was doing this in the 90s. So why not? That's why they made this game. Why not? And the question of if you should play it or not, of course you shouldn't. Plenty of other platformers in 1993 that I can recommend very strongly, and this one is so far from it. The stages are all the same, and there should be more boss fights, fewer weapons, unlimited ammo, more interesting character, and fluid controls. And that's so many strikes against a game. Don't play this.
Kenny?
Yeah, so Nolan and I are not in the same camp this week. This one's actually a yes from me. I don't think it's a perfect game, Nolan. I'm seeing that face. I do think it leans a little bit repetitive, but there's a nice password system. Play the game a little bit, go set it down, pick it up, play it again. Doesn't need to be a binge kind of game. Play through it over a summer. That's fine. Certainly not the tightest controlling game, but lots of characters, fun 90s look, theme. The character is fun. Swapping weapons and having those options is great. The item shtick is a little bit of a shtick, but I dig it. So, yeah, I'm going to say yes. I did say that I was worried you guys would think that it was a little bit vanilla, but and then ran with the analogy of saying, if it's an ice cream, it's not vanilla, it's chocolate chip cookie dough. It's good enough with some good little nuggets mixed in that makes it something overall that an enjoyable experience for me. I get that this isn't going to be for everybody. I enjoyed myself.
First of all, wow.
I think you're lying to yourself.
Okay, no, okay, let him be, but chocolate chip cookie dough is great. I don't know what you think that it's okay. No, chocolate chip cookie dough is passable? No, that's one of the best ice creams.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Chocolate chip cookie dough is vanilla, which everybody talks about as being plain or boring. On its own, it's a great flavor. I respect it. I'm a vanilla boy. But like, that's all it is, but then with good nuggets in it, and that makes it a good thing. I'm saying this game is a lot of okay with enough good nuggets to make it worth playing.
No,
and
so not chocolate chip cookie dough.
Yes, that's exactly how chocolate chip cookie dough is made.
I'm confused.
It's a normal vanilla thing with goodness added in.
What characters are you talking about? You said there's so many great characters. What are you talking about? His dad?
I'm sorry. The character
Senior
and
Bobby?
the character animations are great and fun, not multiple characters.
It's my turn. I'm just saying, for the record, chocolate chip cookie dough is one of the best ice creams out there.
I agree. You're offended because you don't like this game and you don't like that I made the analogy.
I'm just saying B.O.B is not one of the greatest games out there.
Dutch chocolate.
No,
I didn't say that either. You understand the analogy I was trying to make.
It's a bad one. All right.
Dustin, do you like this game?
I know you do. I think we played far worse games. In fact,
Certainly.
I don't think that this is in and of itself is a bad game. I'm out of a lot of games that we played and not given New Game Plus status, I'm most disappointed. Not most. It's one of the games that it causes me most disappointment because it had all the makings to be an enjoyable platformer and an enjoyable title. I like the different power gun abilities. I like the different remote options. I like the quirkiness of the 90s. And like I said, I like B.O.B. But the level design is non-existent. The developers got together and had no idea what makes a good game and just let a computer generate a stage times 30 for each world. And that causes the gaming experience to be redundant and unfun. You can get this game in 6 minutes of game time, and it will not change for the remaining 3 hours of gameplay. It is an uninspired. It's so weird because it started off as something inspired and ends completely uninspired. So I definitely don't give it my vote for New Game Plus status, which means it means B.O.B is not New Game Plus certified.
Good.
But what did you think? Tim of the T said, B.O.B was a regular rental for me in the mid-90s. Its goofy nature and extremely 90s flair and charm are up front and are by far the best part of the game. I remember thinking it was difficult, but I loved it as a kid, and my dad thought the intro and animations were hilarious. With the randomizer having me return this week, I had the sad realization that this game is hot garbage.
Now you're onto something.
The movement and navigation feel completely lifeless and boring, and although there are some fun weapons and items, they ultimately fall flat along with the grinding sound of the music. I'm sorry, old childhood friend, but no New Game Plus.
The guns were pointless. 2, 3 tops. And unlimited ammo, and then I'll give them a pass.
You wanna add less variety to this game and
yes.
think it's gonna be better?
Adding 6 guns is not variety. That's not variety. That's so forced and stupid. That's so dumb.
6 guns are good. Even limited ammo is good. They had to change the stages. I don't think there's anything wrong with the remote or the guns.
Yeah, I agree.
Starpoint says, B.O.B is an interesting game. I'll start with the positives. I think the animations and graphics are pretty high quality. They all have a goofy, bouncy, cartoonish nature to them, which is pretty nice. On to the bad. I think the levels are terrible. One thing. On to the bad. I feel like the levels are terrible. It feels like there are 2 levels that repeat themselves over and over again. The design and layout of the levels feel the same, which make it super boring to play after you pass about 4 levels. The levels also feel extremely cramped. I think that this is due mainly to how close the camera is to the titular character. Along with that, I found myself falling into death pits with no way out unless you had a consumable. I also think that some obstacles and enemies are unavoidable, where you just need a damage boost in order to get through. I'll end this by talking about the lack of save slots. So many SNES and even NES games use actual save slots, so for a game to not use them just feels lazy and outdated. I have many other things to critique this game on, especially the repetitive soundtrack, slippery controls, the lackluster weapon upgrade system, and the very outdated 90s attitude that your character hosts. I feel like this game comes very close to being enjoyable, but it's bogged down by some lazy and disappointing decisions that make it not enjoyable to play today.
It's bobbed down. And it's nice to have people agree with a lot of the things that we saw in this game because it's trash.
Well, do you want to hear one person that loved it?
Kenny.
Then I'll give you.
Oh, there's someone else? No.
No. No one wrote in.
Right. Okay.
It.
Yeah.
Super Gamer Guy did say B.O.B is the epitome of average, and on a platform so renowned for its phenomenal titles, this game rightfully gets lost in the shuffle. Though I will admit that the animations are fluid and expressive, and the weapon variety is well implemented. About nothing else is really well implemented. The gameplay alone gets stale quick, as your controls are somewhat loose, and actions like aiming and crouching are a pain, especially in comparison to the other running guns of the era. The level design does nothing to mitigate this, as it is just one corridor-filled trek through every level for the entire game. The limited weapon ammo doesn't do Bob any favors either, and the same goes for the mediocre to outright terrible music selection. Ooh. Overall, this game is a hard pass for me and should be for everybody.
There you go. I just can't believe they looked at this and saw other games up at, like 93. You've got some good examples to follow. Just mimic any of those popular games because they did it right. But no, you had to just make the same stage. What?
They also had some hot piles of garbage that they could have easily leaned into being more like. I realize I'm an outlier here, and you know, there's a reason this game probably didn't get the ultimate NGP seal of approval, but I feel like you guys are overstating a little bit.
No,
this game came out like it was well reviewed, people liked it. I think I don't know.
They're lying.
I feel like it's getting more hate than it deserves, though it is imperfect.
Thank you for sending in your thoughts on the Retro Game of the Week. You can do that each and every week to ngppodcast@gmail.com or hop into our Discord. We've got a commentary channel there. We'd love to feature your commentary as a part of our episode next week. But for now, we're setting aside Bob, and we are randomly selecting, but not from our Retro Master list, not from the massive thing, because, guys, it is a Patreon poll!
PogChamp. Been a while.
We did the summer pool party, and where we had pool party after pool party after pool party after pool party, and then we ended it with a luxurious hot tub after party, and for our producers only. But now, from our patrons, we're going to randomly select, and we had games in here like Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic from Maxima. We have, because it just became available, we have Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion from Logan. Yes, it's available now.
15 years now?
It's available now.
Sad, but also hype.
We have Mario Kart DS from Matthew Silk, or that's guy in the corner.
That's a great Mario Kart, by the way.
Dino Crisis from William. We have Cyber Dogs from Dom Bomb. We have God of War from a couple of people, Paper Mario from Pedro, and others. From this list of mainly good games, but some really bad ones. I don't think Bill put in his 50-cent game, which is great.
Okay.
We are randomly selecting now. We're going to be playing a game that was developed and published by a company called Treasure in 2001.
Yeah.
Okay.
It came out first in the Japanese arcades and then was ported to Dreamcast, GameCube, Xbox 360, even PC, and others. It's on the Switch. So it can't be a bad game, right?
Well, no, that's not the case.
Can.
Do you want to know what kind of game it is? Well, like what style, genre?
I want to know.
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. It is a vertical space shooter.
Oh no. We have to deal with this, Kenny. We have to deal with it.
Here's the thing. These idiots, if you're listening to this podcast right now, I just want you to know that my two co-hosts are awful at this genre. And they never give it the credit that it deserves.
I don't have the energy to deal with a shmup Dustin for 2 weeks.
I know. Like it could have been an RPG and we'd have gotten a less annoying version of his opinions.
Nolan did say 2 weeks. You heard him right. We're playing this game for 2 weeks because we have our retro recap for this next week. So for 2 weeks, me and the boys are playing a game that was submitted by Korgster called Ikaruga.
Oh no. See,
it looks so good.
If you're going to play this genre, you do want something that started in the actual arcade.
Very
that's
true.
The vibe. And the fact that this one did, and then the fact that it has legs and you can still play it on the Switch means maybe it's a good one. I'm not opposed to this genre like you think I am.
Same.
I just want to find the gems. Maybe we'll get one this week.
I just call bad games when I see them. So
this is great. I cannot wait to play this. So find a copy of Ikaruga and play it along with us this week.
Last week I mentioned our Discord server has some new and exciting features. That's still the case. I haven't done anything with them yet, but I will one day. You can be a part of our community if you go to ngppodcast.com and click Join Us on Discord.
Everyone, real quick, say, hey, Ricard, because he has joined us.
Are you going to let us do it, or are you just going to keep going?
Oh, no, I didn't mean you guys. I meant all the viewers at home.
We're not everyone?
No. You're a subset of everyone.
Okay.
Ricard, thanks for joining us as the newest patron. He hit up patreon.com to show his support for the show and what we do on an ongoing basis. He joined people like our huge and ever-growing list of producers who support us, like Amarley and Anthony, Anton, Ben, Bethany Fox, Brunt, Carrie, Captain Protein, Dan the Man, DB Muppet, Francesca Gimbin. Hi, I'm Josh, Joey, Jordan, Justin, Clint, Corey, Lorelai, Matthew, Maxima, Mr. Lattes, Noel, Secret Duck of Evermore, Shauna, Thomas, Unbedevil, Radonis, William, and Zion. Also, doubly big thank you to our director-level supporters, Bro Jim, Garlisle, and Zachary. Appreciate all of you for all of your support. Thanks.
Love you guys a long time.
Bye.
You can find us on social media. That's Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. All of those links are in the show notes. Listen directly on any podcast provider of your choice. Make sure you subscribe so that you are the first to get new NGP episodes. And while you're at it, please leave a kind rating and review. This episode was edited and produced by our good friend Dan Willett. Join us next week for Retro Recap number 12 and the following week as we play Ikaruga. Until then, I'm still Dustin.
I'm still bringing outside bushes.
Excuse me?
And this has been New Game Plus.